this. Right. So first the user input, right? Send the enter name to display receive num from string. So both of these lines can be joined into one as user input, right? So the variable name is num. So num equals then we need the prompt, and it's a string, right? Num from string. Oh, multiplication.
I think when I make it from an integer, my answers come out right. But then when I use string,
yeah, this can't be string, right? Right, because you have to multiply, right? So we'll make it integer, right? The int input, then the prompt, the first one, enter a number. Right. Then the loop starts here for I from 1 to 12. For I in range 1 to, we have to put 13, right? Because it goes one less than the upper boundary. Okay, then the output. So output is here. Make sure that it is indented clearly. Okay, that's correct. Send. So that's print stri. So we are printing I by converting into string. So stri then plus. Why have they used str? Why have they converted this into string? Because they are using concatenation. They are joining everything. Right? How do you know that they are using concatenation? Because the plus sign is there. Right? So remember, when you're joining using plus sign or concatenation, any numbers have to be converted into string, because we can concatenate only string, right? So stri plus, then we concatenate it with capital X, that's to represent its multiplication, then plus again str, then num, right? So if num was string at the beginning, then there's no need to convert it into string. So they have done a mistake there. It should be integer, right? Then plus again, then the equal sign, plus again, right? So if there's a conversion, if there's a calculation, then of course you don't really need to convert. Let's see, they haven't converted it. Let's see whether it works, right? So we multiply I by num. Okay. Let's see whether that would give an error message. Right. As I told you, before you edit, you save it as finished. Q3A finished. Okay, that's right. All right, let's keep a small space here, right? Space, colon and a space. Right. Right. There you go. Can concatenate only string, not int. So let's convert this into string. But that should be after multiplying, right? Oh yeah, now it works. Good. So this also must be converted into string, because you are multiplying numbers. It cannot be joined with text. So what you should understand here is str is used to convert a number into string, and by converting into string we can join them together using plus, which is concatenation. If you are concatenating, everything has to be text, not numbers, right? Okay, did you get it like this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Shall we move to the next one then? Right. Alex would like to print another pattern upon the number taken from the user. He wants to print the pattern of stars, print a pattern of stars. Sample output is given. Enter number 5. Then you should print it like this. The first row should be 5, second row should be 4, and down to 1. He understood that the pattern should start printing with a space. He should, okay, right? Printing with a space means here. Can you see? Right? In order to print the second row, there should be a space here. When you're printing the third row, there should be 2 spaces, right? And then 3 spaces, and then 4 spaces, right? So that's a tricky one, right? You need to look at this as a kind of a matrix, right? So here, no spaces. First row, no spaces. Second row, there's 1 space. Third row, there are 2 spaces. And this one, there are 3 spaces. And this one, you have 4 spaces. 4 spaces and a star. Open 3B, complete the code given in to implement the logic. Okay, right, I'll give you 5 minutes. By the way, did you do this? No, right? Because I gave the previous one, right?
No, sir.
Right, okay. I'll give you 5 minutes. Try this. Meaning, what's the progress? Finish?
Yeah, I get the stars and like it reduces by like one reduces each time. I just don't get the spaces on the other side. I get it on the right side.
Did it work? Did it work?
Uh, so it works for me as in I get the stars and like accordingly, but then the spaces are on the other side.
Spaces on the other side. Can you send me a screenshot
Yeah.
of your output?
Okay, sir.
You have got it the other way, no? Uh, for I in range 1 to num plus 1, print str asterisk times num. You're not actually printing spaces, no? Vinuki. You are printing the asterisk a certain number of times. Okay, now let me explain, right? Okay, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is a tricky one. Huh? This is a pretty tricky one. Let me write again. I need to use end equals double quotes to remove the default line break. Okay, there you go. Perfect. Right. So this is a pretty tricky one, right? First of all, you need to understand. I mean, you have to visualize this as a square, as a rectangle. So in the first row, there are no spaces, but only the asterisks, 5 asterisks. Second row, there's 1 space and 4 asterisks. Third row, there are 2 spaces and 3 asterisks, and that's how it goes, right? So you should understand that we need several loops here. There should be one loop which goes to all the rows: first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. That's what this while loop is, right? So I used a variable called rows, which is counting the number of rows, right? And this whole thing will run as long as number of rows is less than num. Right? Why less than num? Because num is, if num is 5, this while loop will go from 0 to rows 0 to 4, right? If num is 5, it will go up to 4. So 0 to 4, 5 times. That's right, because I need to go through 5 rows. If I enter 5, that's 0 to 4. Within that, in the first line, I should have, I mean, in each line, within that main loop, which goes through all the rows, for each row, I need to have two loops. One loop controlling the spaces, the other loop controlling the asterisks. So you can see the first one for space, that's controlling the space. For space in range 0 to spaces. I started the spaces with 0, assuming that there are no spaces at the beginning. So this will go from 0 to spaces. That means it will not have any space. Okay. What should we do? Print space. And why do we use end equals double quotes, double quotes? Because I want to print everything in a single row. You know, the print command has the default line break. So if I don't use end equals double quotes, each asterisk will be printed vertically. So to stop that, I use end equals double quotes after the print command. I mean, within the print command after printing the first part. Okay, that will control the spaces. So for the first row, there are no spaces, and then it will control the number of stars. For stars in range 0 to cols. So I'm using a variable called cols, that's for columns, right? And initially, I'm going to start cols with whatever the number user enters. If user enters 5, I'm going to assign 5 for cols, right? And now we are printing stars from 0 to cols. If cols is 5, this will print 0 to 4 stars. That means 5 stars. From 0 to 4, 5 stars. Print star. Don't forget, for that also you have to use end equals double quotes because everything should be printed in one line. And then after those two loops, I have completed one row. What should we do next? I should go to the next row. To go to the next row, I'm using \n, that is a line break. Okay, and I used the end equals double quotes for that as well, because otherwise it was keeping an extra space, because the print command has a default line break, and the \n is also forcing a line break, so there was too much space, so I put end equals double quotes there. Right, now there are some alternate updating to be done for the variables. Okay, this is how we think of that. The three main variables are rows, which controls the number of rows in this. Then the spaces, which controls the number of spaces for the loop. Then the columns, the number of asterisks that it controls. Okay, so first what I did was I incremented rows by 1. That has to be done, right? Because that is the while loop. So the row starts with 0. So if it should go 1 less than the num, we need to increment it. So rows plus equals 1. That means rows equals rows plus 1, right? So row number has to be incremented. Understand? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then what should we do to the spaces? Spaces should increase, right? When you go down, the number of spaces will increase one by one. So I put spaces equals spaces plus 1. What should happen to the cols or the asterisks? When you go down, asterisk should reduce. So I put cols equals cols minus 1, right? So the number of rows are incrementing, number of spaces are incrementing, and number of columns are decreasing. And as a result, I get like this. Okay, let's put 10 or something. There you go. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right. Let's put 50. There you go. Right. Got it? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Bit tricky, yeah? Right. Can you quickly adjust your code and test it and send me a screenshot?
Shadow question 3C5.
Uh, what did you say? I can't. I can't.
So the question 3C, the file
Yeah,
says
the
I
file is
can
not
put
there.
that from here. Yes, sir, that's not there.
Yeah, so just create a file. Just create a file. I created a file called Q3C, right? So take a look at this. I will quickly explain and then let you do it. So what I did was I took the first program. Actually, I opened 3B and saved it as 3C finished. So the previous code was already there. And I put it into a subprogram called def pattern, right? And then I copied the other one from the previous one, 3A, and put it under a subprogram called def multi, right? In both cases, you can see the num has to be there, right? Both programs will be dependent on the variable num, which means I need to have a parameter in this subprogram called num, because that num is used inside the subprogram. So I need to have one parameter there, right? Now to the menu. Menu. Now in the menu, welcome to the number pattern. Okay, let's get that first. Print welcome to the number pattern. Enter a number. First we'll print those lines like this. Then enter number. That instruction should be given first, no? Oh, no, this is a number, right? So it's an input, so not print. Num equals int. I'm using the same variable, that's okay. Enter a number. What very carefully, right? Okay, so the user enters a number, which needs to be passed as an argument for the relevant subprograms, depending on your choice, right? Now to the choice. For multiplication table, enter 1, and for star pattern, 2. I'm going to say select option 1 is for multiplication table, and then 2 is for star pattern. All right. Understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now the thing is, this has to be checked, right? They haven't said whether we need to, run this menu continuously. We'll assume that we don't need, right? Because I didn't see any question on that, any instruction on that. So we'll assume that this runs only once, right? Okay, now I need to read the option or the choice. Choice equals, it's going to be a text input, enter your choice. Like that. Now, based on the choice, you are going to call the subprogram. If choice equals 1, since there are characters now, place it within double quotes, colon, what do you do? If choice is 1, it's the multiplication table that we need to call. So how do you call? Multi brackets. Within the brackets, we need to pass an argument. What is that argument? It is the number that we took from the audience, from the user. Understand this now? That has to be passed. Good? This number I have to pass as an argument to this. Then it will be taken by this num in the multi function. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I can use the same variable, no problem. Multi num. Then I need to check whether the choice is 2. Elif choice equals 2. I need to call the second one, which is pattern. That also accepts an argument, same argument. So put num there. Right. And else it will be an invalid choice. Invalid choice. All right, let's test it now. Enter number, fine. Select the option 1 for multiplication table and 2 for star pattern. Okay, 1. Uh-oh.
Yeah, is it because we have num inside of our subprograms as well?
Oh yeah. That's right. Very good. Sorry. Correct. We don't need this, no? Yeah. So I'm going to comment that. Good. Now it should be fine. Enter number. Right. Multiplication table. Works. Fine. Let's get the star pattern. Number 5. Option is 2. Great. Excellent. Got it? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Easy, right? Okay. Now do the same, right? Update your code and send me a screenshot, right? Okay. Right. Then we are meeting tomorrow, and most probably after tomorrow, I will give you the timed practical paper, 3 hour practical paper. We'll do it online. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. So do this code and send me. So we are left with the last question. What is the last question? The it is the fifth question, right? And then this one. I will briefly explain the purpose of using subprograms in codes. Well, it makes the code more efficient and um, it uses less lines of codes. Then it's easy to reuse the subprograms, easy to debug because we can identify where exactly the error is, and then we can look into fixing the error in that particular subprogram if we can identify where the subprogram is. I mean, where the error is in the subprogram. Code will be more organized and understandable, right? That's what we can say, right? Mainly the reuse, right? Okay, then we'll meet tomorrow, right? You send me the code after finishing. Okay, then. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night.